It may look like the spring is here, but I can assure you it's still winter. In 2 days, it's going to be 20 degrees, so I'm enjoying this nice and warm day. Now, today's video, I've been evaluating a bunch of different processing and review applications, and I was thinking, what if I were to build my own application? What would be the biggest guiding principles that I would follow? Imagine there is a team of developers sitting in the room, and I want to print like 3 messages, 3 biggest guidelines for the software, and just put them on the wall so that whenever they develop their software, they always follow those principles, or they try to stick as close to them as possible. So that's what I want to talk about today. What do I think are the 3 most important things that developers should follow, or people who figure out what the software is going to do? So what are the biggest principles for e-discovery and review software? So the first thing I was thinking of, software should be job or task oriented. Let's say user wants to do something, they want to OCR. That should be the top priority for the software. User says, go OCR these documents. Now the software shouldn't be asking like, okay, let's figure out how many servers you have, how many licenses you have. Let's go around, click some check boxes to make sure you have proper licenses. Where do you want to allocate jobs? None of that stuff. It should automatically scale, like take the licenses if needed, automatically scale, create OCR workers, send the job out, get the job complete, and report to a user that it's done. So minimum interaction as far as system concerned. Users shouldn't worry about licenses or servers or anything like that. Just take the maximum resources allowed, get a job done as quick as possible, and report to the user that the job is complete. Next, assume your software is not going to be perfect. Now, I don't mean like do a hack job at developing it. Do the best job you can at building it, but assume you will never get it 100% right. There are always going to be problems. The complexity we deal with, there are always going to be problems. There are going to be OCR errors, there are going to be imaging errors, there are going to be indexing errors, there are going to be all kinds of problems. And you need to assume that your software will fail at certain points. And because of that, you have to give end user tools to handle those problems. So since we're talking about OCR, let's say a user runs an OCR job and there are problems. Well, you don't just give user like a .log file, a text file with a dump of like, okay, well, here are 300 files that failed to OCR, good luck. You need to give user tools to deal with those problems. For example, look at the image that failed to OCR. So they see the error report or error in a table. They should be able to click on a document, open an image, and see, okay, this image failed to OCR. They should be able to retry that OCR job on individual documents or multiple. And then they should be able to export it out and present it in a nice format. And of course, I'm not talking about just the OCR. This should apply to any area of application. There should be quality reporting so users could see what the errors are and act on them. So assume your software will never be perfect. Wow, this is such a comfortable rock over here. This is nice. Okay, so the third item is actually pretty difficult, and I want it to be as more like a guiding principle, not something you may be able to achieve. And that is, do not let user paint themselves into a corner. So whatever steps users do in your software, whatever actions they perform, everything should be undoable or fixable. There shouldn't be a thing that you do that locks you into something. So for example, at an import, let's say you set date exclusion filter and you load your data. And then what happens is client comes back and says, oh, the dates have actually changed. Well, in some software, you can't fix it. Like the exclusion filter is set and you have to go through some crazy number of steps to fix it. What you should be able to do is just say, okay, let me change my filtering, and then retry the job or rerun it again, and it'll just pull all the new content in. Same thing applies to custodian. How many times we had where custodian name changes or the processing time zone changes. All these things should be undoable, changeable. Mass operation is another example. If somebody mass updates a field, that should be logged as a job with the old value and a new value. And at some point, you run a job and you accidentally update entire workspace and you go, oh my God, you just go to that job and say, undo it, and it just flips all the values back. So what developers should think about is how can we make sure that whatever user does can be undone or redone. Now, in case of imaging, it's simple. If you image something with the wrong settings, you can re-image, so it costs you time. So that part isn't a big deal, but things like incorrect time zone, custodian names, filtering, and some of those things, software should know how to undo it or redo it with different settings. Because in ediscovery, things change all the time. The information we have at the beginning of a job is not the same as we have in the middle of a job or at the end. Things change all the time. Well, I found the Chrysler engine here. Anyway, what do you guys think? So what are the overall top goals or philosophy do you think developers should apply when building ediscovery software? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next video.